I talk to Canadian retirees every day, and the account I see cause the most confusion is the LIRA, or Locked In Retirement Account. And if you're someone who is retiring with multiple accounts in addition to a LIRA, things can get even more confusing. So in this video, I want to jump into our planning software and walk you through an example of someone retiring with a LIRA, RRSP, and TFSA. And I'm going to show you how we typically see people draw down these accounts when they hit retirement. And then I want to show you a way of how to do it properly. And typically drawing your LIRA down, and really it's just a LIRA I'm focusing on, not CPP timing and everything else. I'm just focusing really on the LIRA here and how to work around that LIRA in retirement. So if you have a LIRA, that's why this video is so important to kind of walk through and see how we do it, because it's how you should be doing it within your plan as well. So let's first start off with, what is a LIRA, locked in retirement account? Well, it will typically come from a group savings plan. So you might have a group RSP, but if you have a group DC or defined contribution plan, that will typically roll into a LIRA when you retire. If you have a defined benefit plan and you take the commuted value, part of that would have to go to a LIRA as well. So if you have an account where it's a LIRA, that is typically from a work or a pension plan. Now, again, the parameters around this account is very strict. There's a minimum amount that you have to take. When you convert it, there's a minimum and there's a maximum, and I'll get to that more in a second. But a LIRA, when you retire, will move from a LIRA to a LIF, a life income fund. So much like an RSP goes to a RIF, a LIRA goes to a LIF. So just keep that in mind as you ramp up to retirement. It does need to convert just like your RSP, and you do need to start taking money out. You have to convert it in the year you turn 71, start taking money in 72, much like you have to with the RRSP. Now, if you want to learn more about the LIRA, we do have a landing page here on our website, parallelwealth.com/LIRA. It talks a bit about what is a LIRA, what to do with it, the difference between that and RSP. And then at the bottom is the unlocking rules in each province or territory, what you're able to do with the unlocking. Now you might ask, well, Adam, what is unlocking? And unlocking is a very powerful tool that many of you, but not all of you, will get to take advantage of with your LIRA. So let's assume you retire from work and you had a defined contribution plan with $500,000 in it. You built up over time. That defined contribution plan rolls into a LIRA when you hit retirement. And you want to start taking money out of it fairly soon. You hit retirement and it's something you need to start drawing money on. Let's assume you live in Ontario. In Ontario, you can unlock 50% of your LIRA. So what you could do with that $500,000, when you convert it from a LIRA to a LIF, a life income fund, to start drawing money out of it, at that time and on the application form, you can apply to unlock 50% of it, which is what Ontario allows, to your RRSP or to your RIF, depending on if you need to take money out of there. But let's just call it your RRSP for now. So of your $500,000, it's going to go into two streams. Half of it will go into your LIF, life income fund, to start drawing money on. The other half to your RRSP. Now, what are the benefits of this? Well, your RRSP has much more flexibility. There's that minimum amount that you're going to have to take from it at age 72, but there's no maximum. So if you needed to take larger amounts out, you have that flexibility to do so. Whereas in a LIRA or a LIF, once you start taking money out of it, there's a minimum and there's also a maximum. So there's this range that you have to stay within on the LIF account. And so if we can free up some of that money to an RSP, way more flexible. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, you can actually often do 100%. Where I live here in BC, unfortunately, it's 0%. So if you have a $500,000 LIRA, you're going to have a $500,000 LIF. Now, how do you know if you can unlock it? It's based on the jurisdiction. So reach out to your financial institution that manages your LIRA, and they will tell you the jurisdiction. Just because you live in BC and maybe even worked in BC doesn't mean it's a BC jurisdiction. It could be Alberta, it could be federal, it could be Ontario, it could be anywhere. It could be very mixed up, and you could have multiple LIRAs with multiple jurisdictions. So again, figure out what the jurisdiction is and then go to our website, parallelwealth.com/LIRA, and figure out if you can unlock any of it. And if you can, you need to make sure you do it at time of moving it from a LIRA to a LIF or within 60 days. If you wait too long, that unlocking privilege will likely be lost. So let's jump into the software here. And again, I have an individual with a LIRA, an RSP and a TFSA. And I'm going to show you how we typically see people draw down these accounts when they hit retirement. And then I want to show you a way of how to do it properly. And typically drawing your LIRA down, and really it's just the LIRA I'm focusing on, not CPP timing and everything else. I'm just focusing really on the LIRA here and how to work around that LIRA in retirement. So if you have a LIRA, that's why this video is so important to kind of walk through and see how we do it, because it's how you should be doing it within your plan as well. It's not going to give you a whole lot more income. It'll typically give you a little bit more income, after-tax income, by doing it properly, but it'll open up a lot of flexibility, and you'll see that in the software. So here we have Elmer Fudd. He has a LIRA for $500,000, an RRSP at $250, and a TFSA at $120. Now, Elmer lives in BC, so he is unable to unlock any. And if we go into the LIRA account here, we can see you can set your jurisdiction. So if we have a client with, say, Ontario, then we could put Ontario in here, what conversion age they want to do it at, and unlocking. So 50, 25, 50, 100%, whatever it is. And then again, unlock to the RSP. So that's how you would unlock it. But again, it's based on the jurisdiction, not on our financial planning software. Unfortunately, we don't make that call. It's based on the jurisdiction. So I've set his conversion age at 67, and you'll see why here in a second. And again, he's got his RSP. We'll convert it to a RIF at 59 to start taking money out at age 60. So here's Elmer. He is retiring at 60, plans to live till 90. And what he's done is he started his CPP, which many of you do at 60 or early 60s. His old age security, we can see at 65. Again, not focusing on that. I'm not going to dig into that. Not part of what the reason of this video is. And so if we look at his RSP, this is a way a lot of you are doing it. So it's, larger LIRA, smaller RSPs. Okay, let's get rid of the RSP. We'll complement it with the TFSA a little bit. And then when the RSP is gone, we'll start taking from the LIRA account. So that's what he's done here. $36,000 a year is giving him just shy of $52,000 total when you combine his CPP, eventually his old age security, and then a little bit of supplemental income out of his TFSA account to keep his tax bill down. Once his RSP or RIF has run out, that's when he converts his LIRA to a LIF and starts drawing that down. Now, many issues with this. You can see by the time he's 73, there's no tax-free savings account left, meaning that there's zero flexibility. If he needed money, there's nowhere to grab it from. If I scroll over, let's grab age 75. If I hover over here, we can see at age 75, the minimum amount he's going to have to take out of his LIRA is $44,663. The maximum is $73,533. And we can see he's taking out $63,525. So somewhere right in between those two numbers. Now, if Elmer needed $20,000 for a new roof or whatever it is, he could only take out another $10,000. And remember, that's taxable income. He has no other assets. So he'd be in a very tough situation if he needed some more money. So again, he's lost all the flexibility in his planning because he left the account that's the least flexible for later in life. As we scroll down, if we grab, age, let's say it's 82 here. If we scroll over, he's taking 74,000, 81's the maximum. So again, he's bumping pretty close to the maximum every single year. Little flexibility, little structure, and could be a lot of pain later in life if he does it this way. And we come across this all the time. So here's what you want to be doing if you have a LIRA account. As soon as you retire and need to start drawing income on, convert your LIRA to a LIF and take the maximum amount. Unless you don't have a massive, and we've seen this, $1.5, $2 million LIRA, maybe the maximum is too much. But again, sit down with your financial planner and figure out what that number needs to be. But for 99% of you, the very first place you should be taking your income from is your LIRA or your LIF, and take the maximum amount. So you can see here for BC, for this LIRA, the maximum amount is $33,864. And that's what we're taking out. We're taking out that amount every year, which is the maximum every year until it's depleted, which is age 90 at the earliest here in BC. We're then supplementing that with RSP money, and we're going to draw that down over time. And so that account is depleted by age 86 or life expectancy. So again, LIRA, taking the most we can as quick as we can. Again, there's that limit on it, complementing it with the RIF. And then you can see that TFSA. We're touching it, but we're not touching it as aggressively. So if we look at age 75, yes, we're taking the max LIRA, but we have $140,000 left in the RSP, which again, we could take that full amount. We wouldn't want to as it's taxable, but he also has $209,000 in his TFSA account. So if he had that $20,000 roof to put on, no problem. He could pull it from his tax-free savings, not drive up his tax bill, and be in a great situation. I will also highlight, you can see here the real income or after-tax income on the left, $52,184. So it's a couple $100 a year more, but again, not substantial. But let's compare the estate. So if they live both these strategies, which one gives them a better estate plan? Well, here you have number one, which is no planning. Number two is planning. And we can see if I run it at 80, so that he dies a little bit early, his taxes on estate is 280 versus 128, but his after tax, $87,404 more had he melted down his LIRA quicker. So again, the income's not a big deal, but the flexibility and the estate is substantial. If we roll it out to age 85, 86, let's go 86, closer to life expectancy, you can see $35,000. So yes, he's collected a little bit more, but more importantly, he's had that flexibility and a lot more money to his estate should he pass away. So for all of you that have a LIRA walking into retirement, you want to figure out what is the jurisdiction, how much you can unlock, and then when you convert your LIRA to a LIF, unlock as much as you can to your RSP, and whatever is left in the LIF, take out the maximum amount every single year. That should be the first place you take income from, and then supplement it with the rest of your income sources to create some tax efficiency. So that is your tip for today. If you have a LIRA, jurisdiction, unlock as much as you can and take the maximum amount out of the LIF. We'll see you in the next video.